Hello and welcome to the induction for the lead GP at Cathedral House. Training requirements. We request that all lead GPs have completed their mandatory vaccination training prior to arriving for a shift at Cathedral House. The ELFH portal has a COVID vaccination module consisting of 3 sections, one on the general information about the COVID vaccination program, one on the Pfizer vaccine, and one on the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. Within your training packs, there's also links to videos for aseptic non-touch technique and a video from Pinnacle which outlines the process of how pharma outcomes works, which is how we're going to be recording patient vaccinations and also any aftercare. Please ensure that you're up to date with your basic life support and anaphylaxis as well. What to sort out prior to attending Cathedral House. All training from the previous slide and the training that's within the training and induction pack itself should be completed before attending. Please ensure you have a log-on for AccuRx so you can access the AccuBook system. This is the system that we are using at Cathedral House at the moment for patient booking. Please ensure you have a log-on for Pinnacle for the pharma outcome system for recording of vaccination if you do have to give any, but in particular for any aftercare of patients. What to expect at Cathedral House. There is plenty of parking on site, and patients will be entering the parking area through one entrance and they will be exiting from another to ensure that the traffic flows in one direction. The layout of the building is so that we have separate entrances and separate exits, and we also have a separate section within the hall for car-bound patients. This is to allow patients who have poor mobility but can travel to the site for them to access one of the stations near the entrance to have their vaccination done. They will also have an observation area nearby where they'll have to wait 15 minutes and they can go back into the car from the same entrance point. We'll have a traffic management company on site called Streetwise. They will be helping to coordinate the car-bound patients and also the traffic flow through the site itself. The flow of patients. Patients will enter through one way, which is going to be well signposted, and they will enter the foyer. There will be hand sanitizing stations in the foyer itself before they join the main queue and enter the main hall. The reception desk will be at the front and the patient will be arrived by reception staff before joining the main queue. The vaccinator stations will be set up in the hall already, and the patients will be allocated to a vaccination station with the next patient waiting on chairs outside each of the stations. The target rate to ensure a good patient flow and keep the queue indoors is 12 patients per hour, i.e. 5 minutes per appointment. And there will be a separate observation area on the other side of the hall for patients to wait for 15 minutes for. This will be manned by volunteers, in particular our social prescribing link workers, to ensure that the patients are okay there. There will be other volunteers spread out throughout the hall who will be managing the patient flow, from queue marshals to other volunteers. Arrival at Cathedral House. Please report to the central desk and check in. Familiarise yourself with the layout of the hall, including the central research station, which contains a defib kit, anaphylaxis kit and oxygen, and familiarise yourself with the clinical room where the reconstitution of the Pfizer vials will take place. Meet the rest of the team, which include the vaccinators, the lead nurse, the lead manager, and the admin and volunteers. Any fire drills will be made aware of by the lead manager on the day, but in the event of a fire, the fire exits are clearly marked, and we ask that everybody in the hall leaves via the nearest fire exit. Anybody who's in the observation area at the time will leave through the exit doors, and they will have a separate cordoned off area within the car park. The toilets are located off the exit foyer, and you would all be offered a lateral flow test on arrival, which is entirely voluntary. The lead GP will then settle in at the central desk, and they will log into AccuBook, Pinnacle, and log into your NHS Smart Card as well, in case you have to access the My Health Huddersfield System 1 module. Sign off the national protocol and PGD if needed, although most staff we will be requesting to sign off at your practices. Clipboards and paper will be to hand, and it will be required to simplify the recording of the vaccine doses towards the end of the clinic. This will be explained later. Vaccinating. Reconstituted vials will be delivered to the stations by the lead nurses. The vaccinating will begin with a target rate of 12 patients per hour for each of the stations. The lead GP will be responsible for ensuring the rate for each station is adequate and will be guided by feedback from the lead manager. The lead GP should provide a visible presence within the main hall at all times. The lead GP should respond to any clinical or emergency issues that may arise, and if there are any technical, for example IT issues, please flag this up with the lead manager. The lead GP, along with the lead nurse or nurses, should regularly check each station to ensure the doses are adequate, ensure the smooth running of the session, and offer any support as and when needed. The lead GP or the lead nurse should sign off any new staff as competent on the staff assessment forms. We would suggest a dose sit rep every 30 minutes initially to check how many doses are at each station. These sit rep sheets will be made available on the day. Vaccine dose management. One of the most important roles for the lead GP is the management of the vaccine doses towards the end of the session. Please work closely with the lead manager and the admin team to identify numbers of patients left to vaccinate and the number of vaccine doses that are remaining. Please note that the Pfizer vial should contain 6 doses and the AstraZeneca 11. Towards the end of the session, we would advise that you perform a dose sit rep every 15 minutes. This is critical to ensure that no doses of the vaccine are wasted. Consider closing down the stations and moving the vaccinators together, with one drawing up the doses and administering whilst the other records on Pinnacle. And we advise you do this again towards the end of your session. This is effective in the last 30 to 45 minutes, with patient numbers reducing, and reducing the stations down by 30 to 50%, depending upon what's required, will help manage the vaccine doses better. Emergency. In the event of an emergency, the lead GP should respond immediately. The lead GP can coordinate any assistance that may be needed from one or more of the vaccinator stations, or indeed from the volunteers that are present or the lead nurse. There is a central resource area which contains an anaphylaxis kit along with a defib, and there will be oxygen present. The lead GP should be available to answer any urgent clinical queries from patients in the observation area. When your shift is finished, please log off and have a very short debrief with the team. Encourage and document any feedback from the team and from yourself. Thank you very much.